5 minutes ago, Catherine, Princess of Wales, finally broke her silence. And what she revealed shocked the entire world. Her 6-month disappearance wasn't what anyone expected. It wasn't scandal. It was something far more personal, heartbreaking, and real. Stay with us. The truth behind it all is finally out. The sudden vanishing. What triggered the 6-month disappearance? It all began in January 2024, when Kensington Palace quietly announced that Catherine, Princess of Wales, had undergone a planned abdominal surgery. At first glance, it sounded routine, nothing to worry about. The statement mentioned she would remain hospitalized for 10 to 14 days, then recover at home. But what was missing from that message sparked a storm of curiosity. There was no medical detail, no official diagnosis, and certainly no photos or footage confirming her condition. For the public, this didn't come out of nowhere. Catherine had already been visibly absent since Christmas 2023, skipping multiple royal appearances. So when the palace finally admitted she had surgery, the gap between her last public sighting and the news announcement was already long. That's when the questions started swirling. Why now? Why the silence? And why so vague? Inside sources began whispering that even royal staff members weren't informed of the surgery until after it happened. Only a very small inner circle was reportedly aware, including Prince William, a few senior aides, and top medical professionals. That level of secrecy isn't typical, even for the royals. The situation grew more intense when weeks passed without an update. No balcony appearances, no hospital exit photo, no leaks, just silence. In an era where the public is used to real-time updates from royals and celebrities alike, this kind of radio silence for over a month was unheard of. And then came the shift, from concern to suspicion. As one royal reporter put it wasn't just the surgery, it was everything around it. The timing, the secrecy, the silence. It left people asking, what's really going on behind palace doors? By mid-February 2024, theories began spreading like wildfire. And the more the palace stayed quiet, the louder the noise became. Next comes the real question. Why did the palace stay silent for so long? And was it part of a much bigger strategy? The secrecy and why the palace stayed quiet. As the days turned into weeks, one thing became painfully clear. The palace wasn't going to say much. Following the surgery announcement in January 2024, the public expected regular updates or even a brief appearance. But instead, there was a heavy, intentional silence. And that silence, it wasn't an accident. The royal family has always guarded their health matters like state secrets. Even Queen Elizabeth II's medical conditions were often hidden until the very end. But with Catherine, the silence felt even more calculated. The palace only offered one line: that she was recovering well and wouldn't return to public duties until after Easter. That gave them more than 3 months of quiet, a vague window with no details. According to insiders, this wasn't just about recovery. It was about control. Royal commentator Valentine Lowe explained, "The fewer details you give, the less you have to walk back later." The palace learned that lesson the hard way with past scandals. But the problem with silence is it creates space. Space for conspiracy theories, media pressure, and public doubt. The carefully worded palace line, from planned surgery to Easter return, gave just enough information to sound reasonable, but not enough to satisfy anyone. And yet, from their side, the decision had logic. Catherine's health wasn't just a personal matter. It was emotional for her children, and William was reportedly personally managing much of her care. One aide revealed that William was laser-focused on shielding the kids from media noise. Still, the strategy backfired. The ambiguity kept people talking, and soon, public interest turned into public obsession. News anchors, bloggers, even TikTok creators began speculating. The palace's attempt to protect privacy ended up fueling more attention than ever before. So as the silence stretched on, it stopped feeling like recovery and started looking like something was being covered up. And that's when things took a darker turn. Because silence in the royal world is often the start of something much bigger. The conspiracy swirl, when absence turns into wild theories. By the time March 2024 rolled in, Catherine had been missing from the public eye for nearly 3 months. No new photos, no videos, not even a wave from a car window. And that's when the internet and the world started to spiral. With zero official footage and no fresh statements, the vacuum was quickly filled with noise. Wild, shocking, sometimes disturbing theories took over every corner of social media. Hashtags like #WhereIsKate and #KateGate began trending across X, formerly Twitter, and TikTok. As the public craved answers, the palace refused to give. Some of the more intense claims suggested that her surgery had gone horribly wrong, that she was in a coma, unable to speak or move. Others speculated that she had been secretly moved to a private facility abroad, completely hidden from even top staff. And yes, there were even more bizarre ones, like theories about body doubles, marital drama, and the idea that the woman we'd eventually see might not be the real Catherine at all. It sounds extreme, but when people are left in the dark for 90-plus days, even the wildest theories can gain traction. Harper's Bazaar, Australia reported, "The silence created a perfect storm. We live in an era where silence is suspicious. In royal life, it's almost damning." Then came whispers of marriage trouble. Some claimed Prince William was seen looking unusually tense at public events. Every side glance, every unspoken moment was picked apart online, adding fuel to the idea that something wasn't just medically wrong, but personally unraveling behind the gates of Adelaide Cottage. The palace said nothing. No denial, no clarification. And in that silence, truth became impossible to separate from theory. The mystery was no longer just about Catherine's health. It had evolved into a full-scale royal crisis in the public's imagination. And then, the photo happened. One image meant to calm the chaos, but it did the exact opposite. The botched photo, first public sign of trouble. On March 10, 2024, for Mother's Day in the UK, the official Prince and Princess of Wales account posted the image everyone had been waiting for. A smiling Catherine surrounded by her 3 children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. It was supposed to end the speculation. Instead, it exploded it. Within 12 hours, major news agencies, including AP, Reuters, and Getty, pulled the image from circulation. Why? It had been digitally altered, and not subtly. Inconsistencies in Princess Charlotte's sleeve, strange blurring around Catherine's hand, and mismatched lighting ignited a digital forensic frenzy. The palace rushed to respond. In a rare personal statement, Catherine herself admitted, "Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I apologize for any confusion the family photograph caused." But the damage was done. The public didn't see a harmless edit. They saw a cover-up. What was supposed to be proof of recovery now looked like manipulation. Photo experts and even casual followers pointed out that her wedding ring was missing, her jawline appeared reshaped, and the entire image felt strangely constructed. It didn't soothe concern. It poured gasoline on the fire. Theories reignited instantly. Was the photo taken that week? Or was it months old? Was it AI generated? Or part of a failed PR campaign to calm the masses? One commentator said, "It wasn't just the edits, it was the desperation. You could feel it. This wasn't confidence. It was damage control." The palace, already criticized for being too secretive, now looked like it had something to hide. For the public, this photo didn't answer questions. It raised more. In fact, it may have been the moment trust truly snapped. And that's when the silence finally broke. Days later, Catherine spoke out herself, not through a photo or a statement, but face to face, on video. What she revealed, no one was ready for. The moment of truth, official cancer diagnosis, and chemo reveal. On the evening of March 22, 2024, the world finally got an answer. Not from a palace press release, not from edited photos, but directly from Catherine herself. In a pre-recorded video message, the Princess of Wales appeared calm, pale, and noticeably thinner. She looked straight into the camera and spoke the words no one expected. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London. Tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy. In that one moment, the entire narrative flipped. For nearly 3 months, people had speculated everything from marital trouble to psychological breakdown. But the truth was far more serious and far more human. Catherine had been facing a life-threatening illness, and she was doing it while protecting her children, enduring surgery, and quietly beginning chemotherapy in February. She described the past months as incredibly tough for our entire family, and emphasized the need for space, saying she needed time to explain everything gently to George, Charlotte, and Louis. Her message was clear, emotional, and grounded. This wasn't a media stunt or spin. It was raw reality. The shock was immediate. Major outlets across the world, BBC, CNN, Sky News, and ABC, cleared coverage for the announcement. Sympathy poured in from every direction. Even critics fell silent, because suddenly, the silence, the editing, the hiding, it all made sense. Royal commentator Jenny Bond told the BBC, "It was a story people thought they were owed, but what they got instead was something far deeper, a story of survival, of family, of fear, and strength." From that point on, Catherine wasn't seen as a missing royal. She was seen as a mother fighting cancer. But even after her reveal, one thing remained unclear. Would she ever return to full royal life? Or had everything changed forever? The slow comeback, cautious public appearances begin. After months of speculation, fear, and finally, truth, the question on everyone's mind was simple. When, or even if, would Catherine return? Her answer came quietly but powerfully in June 2025, when the Princess of Wales made her first major public appearance at Trooping the Colour, the King's official birthday parade. Dressed in elegant white, standing alongside her family, she smiled and waved. But royal insiders said it was anything but easy. This wasn't a comeback. It was a careful step forward. Sources close to the family revealed that Catherine had made the decision herself, not because of pressure, but because she wanted to support her children and the monarchy. But just 1 week later, her name was quietly removed from the guest list at Royal Ascot, a major event she had planned to attend. This pattern, present one moment, withdrawn the next, told its own story. She was still healing. People magazine reported, "She's listening to her body. She's not rushing. Her return isn't about duty. It's about balance." In private, Catherine was said to be focused on rebuilding her strength, not just physically but emotionally. Chemotherapy, even preventative, takes a toll. And with 3 young children, a public spotlight, and global expectations, she was choosing to move slowly on her terms. Behind the scenes, she resumed select duties, video calls with charities, small meetings, and brief photo ops, but nothing close to the full schedule she once carried. For the first time, royal life and personal health were being balanced with equal weight. And this quiet strength didn't go unnoticed. The public didn't ask for more. They understood. But her careful steps back into royal life raised a deeper question. Had this experience forever changed her priorities? What came next wasn't just about public appearances, it was about public perception, and how sympathy and support began to reshape her story. The fallout, public reaction, sympathy, and lingering doubts. After March 22, 2024, when Catherine revealed her cancer diagnosis to the world, something shifted. Not just in the media, but in the hearts of people everywhere. Sympathy surged. What once was suspicion turned into solidarity. Across social platforms, TV coverage, and press editorials, the tone changed almost overnight. Thousands of supportive messages flooded royal accounts. From cancer survivors to young mothers, people saw themselves in her story. A woman forced to carry the weight of illness in silence while protecting her family. Catherine, often admired from afar, suddenly felt relatable, even vulnerable. It wasn't a princess in a palace anymore. It was a mother fighting to stay strong. As Business Insider put it, the scandal vanished the moment the truth came out. In its place, respect and a wave of empathy no PR team could ever manufacture. But while support rose, not everyone forgot the months of confusion. Critics pointed to the edited photo, the vague palace statements, and the lack of transparency. Why hadn't they just said cancer from the start? Why did it take a global breakdown in trust to finally speak up? Even some loyal royal watchers felt the handling could have been better. The line between privacy and public duty blurred, and not everyone agreed on where it should have been drawn. Time magazine noted, Catherine's honesty moved the nation, but the secrecy that came before it left behind questions no one at the palace seems ready to answer. Still, most agreed on one thing: the emotional cost of those 6 months was real. The world watched a woman battle disease, motherhood, media pressure, and royal duty, all at once. And through it all, she remained silent, until the moment it mattered most. But now that her truth was out, another layer of the mystery came into focus. What was the real reason behind her decision to disappear from public life for so long? The next chapter would answer that. The real reason she vanished: health, privacy, family, and healing. For months, the world searched for a dramatic reason behind Catherine's disappearance. Was it scandal? Was it personal? In the end, it wasn't about any of that. The truth was far simpler and far more human. It was about survival. At its core, her absence was the result of 3 powerful forces: serious illness, a deep need for privacy, and a fierce desire to protect her young children. After undergoing abdominal surgery in January 2024, doctors discovered cancer. And just like that, everything changed. Behind the palace gates, it was never about hiding. It was about shielding. Catherine and Prince William made the decision to delay public updates until they had processed the diagnosis themselves, spoken to their children, and begun a private path toward healing. As a royal aide later revealed, this wasn't PR strategy. This was a mother trying to give her family a moment to breathe. The now infamous edited photo, released on March 10th, wasn't a manipulation attempt. It may have been a hopeful gesture gone wrong, a way to share a moment of normalcy, to calm the world without fully opening the door. But in the court of public opinion, it backfired. Still, Catherine stood by her decision. Her video message made one thing clear. Her priority had always been her children's emotional safety, not public timelines. And the longer she stayed silent, the more peace she gave herself to begin treatment, quietly starting preventative chemotherapy in February 2024. Her return in June 2025 wasn't framed as a triumphant comeback. It was measured, cautious, and deeply personal, because she knew something had changed forever: her health, her limits, and the way she would carry her royal role going forward. In the end, Catherine's disappearance wasn't about mystery or scandal. It was about a woman fighting to heal and choosing, for once, to put herself and her family first. But this moment revealed something else too: a deeper look into what life as a royal is really like behind the gold curtains. What this saga reveals about royal life: pressure, secrecy, and modern expectations. Catherine's 6-month silence didn't just shine a light on her personal battle. It exposed the often unseen reality of royal life. Behind the formal smiles, glamorous gowns, and historic palaces lies a world filled with constant pressure, rigid rules, and overwhelming public expectation. In the eyes of many, royals are supposed to be resilient, always polished, always visible. But Catherine's situation revealed something different: that even a future queen is not immune to burnout, fear, or needing space. Her story became a rare moment when the curtain slipped, and people saw just how heavy the crown can feel, even when you're not wearing it. The royal family has always protected its image fiercely. Whether it's health, emotion, or scandal, the first instinct is often secrecy. From Queen Elizabeth II's final days to Prince Philip's hospitalizations, royal health updates have always been brief, controlled, and vague. That same pattern played out here. The palace's silence, paired with a poorly handled photo release, created the perfect storm. In trying to preserve Catherine's privacy, they accidentally fed the very machine they wanted to quiet. As Time magazine wrote, "The monarchy is walking a tightrope, balancing privacy in the digital age, where silence looks like guilt and control looks like fear." And this raises the bigger issue: where does public interest end and personal space begin? Royals live a life funded by taxpayers, yet they're also human beings. That tension is becoming harder to manage in a world that expects instant answers. In Catherine's case, the truth came later, but it came honestly. Still, the cost was high. Weeks of chaos, eroded trust, and headlines she'll never forget. But maybe this saga taught us something else too: that royals aren't untouchable. They're human. And sometimes, being strong means choosing silence, even when the world demands a show. And as for Catherine, what began as a disappearance ended as a revelation. But now came the final truth: why she really disappeared, and what that decision changed forever. The big reveal. why she really disappeared, and what changed. After months of silence, speculation, edited photos, and whispers inside the palace walls, the truth finally landed. Catherine's disappearance wasn't about scandal, divorce, or public relations failure. It was about something much bigger: her health, her family, and her fight for control in a life that rarely allows it. In January 2024, she entered the hospital for what the palace called a planned abdominal surgery. What they didn't say, what they perhaps couldn't say, was that this procedure would uncover cancer. The diagnosis came as a shock, not just to Catherine, but to the entire royal inner circle. Suddenly, the woman the world expected to wave from balconies and represent the crown was facing chemotherapy, fatigue, and fear. Everything changed in that moment. Catherine and Prince William made a decision to disappear from the world, not to hide, but to protect. To protect their children from panic, to protect her recovery from media chaos, and to protect what little privacy they still had. Every public moment was weighed. Every statement was measured. Even the Mother's Day photo, now infamous for its editing, was likely a misstep born from hope, a moment of light they tried to share too soon. By March 22nd, when Catherine finally broke her silence on video, the narrative was no longer theirs to shape, but she took it back with grace. She wasn't making a comeback, she was telling her truth. And the world finally listened. Since then, her reappearance has been gentle, intentional. She's not rushing back to full duties. She's choosing what matters: her children, her health, and a new way to exist within the monarchy. In the end, her disappearance wasn't an escape. It was a battle for survival. And through it, Catherine showed the world something rare: that even in the House of Windsor, even behind palace walls, strength looks like silence, healing, and putting family first. The conspiracies faded, the rumors died, and all that remained was the truth. So now we know. Catherine didn't vanish to escape, she disappeared to survive. A private battle with cancer, a mother protecting her children, a royal forced into silence. What began as confusion ended with courage. The headlines were wrong, but her strength rewrote the story. If you felt this, if you respect what Catherine went through, leave a heart in the comments. And tell us, do you think the palace should have told the truth sooner? Subscribe for more powerful royal updates, and remember, behind the crown, there's always a deeper story. And this time, it was very real.